Okay, it's Friday the 20th, and we're going to talk about our assignment, the previous one and the next one. So last time I posted this outline. Hey, look at that, 11 people turned it in. And today I'm going to look through these and comment on them. Okay, I haven't done that with the little assignments so far. I haven't really given a ton of feedback. But with these, I'm going to look at each one and say, hey, do more of this, do less of this, what about this? Send it back with comments. And you want to take your time and get it right because this is useful for the future. The outline, I already have a video talking about it, but I'm going to recap a tiny bit now. Most important thing by far, and I know it sounds simple and I know it seems like it would happen automatically, but I've seen some that are missing this, is right at the beginning, you want to tell us your main character and what they want. It's sort of like if this was a video game, what would be that little objective that pops on screen that says, you know, do this? Because it's pretty easy to do a story without it, and then the reader's like, well, what's happening? Where are we going? We just seem to be floating around. I've seen one of my classes, several of the guys were writing a story about somebody with hallucinations or schizophrenia of some kind, and it was sort of a thing of like, oh, what's real and what's not. And you can do that, but you still need a specific goal at the beginning. And the example I told them was when I was a kid, everybody loved Fight Club. Fight Club was a book and a movie that were really influential. We had years later, everyone was still copying those stories and doing similar stuff. And spoiler, it has a multiple personality twist where two characters are actually the same one. But the beginning of that book, page 1, starts with a really simple goal, and it's like, hey, we are doing this thing. And the beginning of the movie does that too. It's the narrator says, I can't sleep. I'm going to the doctor to try to find a way to sleep, and I'm going to support groups to try to find a way to sleep. And so he has a very specific goal, concrete. We know exactly what's going on. And later it expands to crazier stuff, and by the end we kind of forgot about that, but we still start with something really clear. So you want to think about that. I know it sounds obvious, but we really need it. And another thing I want to point out is that you don't have to tell us why, okay? You want to tell us what they want, but stop there, okay? We don't need to, like, if you say, hey, here's a little guy, he wants to play xylophone. Great. I love him. I will follow this little guy and see how it turns out, whether he plays xylophone or not. You don't have to say, well, his father was killed by a xylophone, and let me go into a flashback. You don't have to do that. Just say what they want, and we will go with it, okay? We don't need to have, like, a prequel inside the story. You can if you want, but it's definitely not needed. It's not really part of the core stuff. So take a look at these, see how you do, and I will comment on each one that I see as we go. The next assignment was going to be a single paragraph, and I was going to say, hey, you can write one, and then we'll beef it up later. But so many people are already doing that, and they're already ready to go, that I'm going to skip it and say the next thing is going to be the first draft. And so I'll post something with more detailed rubric. I haven't yet, but it's going to have 3 categories. Okay, for the first draft, one category is going to be, do you have this stuff? The like key plot and character stuff that's like on the scoreboard, you know? Question?
What if you're already done like writing that story down of yours?
Then you can turn it in for that first draft.
Oh, like when everyone's done, can we like share ours and stuff like that?
Yeah, so let me just repeat it for the people who are watching the video. I got a question, what if we've already written a story? Some people have already been like churning away over the last few days. You could turn that in for the first draft. And then I got a question, are we going to share it? And I'm thinking, yes. I don't want to make it mandatory to have you stand in front of a class and read, because some people would consider that torture. But A, we're definitely going to do some kind of group peer editing thing where you share with a partner. And B, we might do one step more than that near the end, have some people share what they've got. I haven't decided yet. So for the first draft, like I said, one category is going to be this stuff. Do you have all this key stuff in your story? Tell us early on what's going on. Don't leave us hanging, and then bring in everything else when it's needed. Second category is going to be the stuff that isn't in the outline. Description, you want to describe whatever turns out to be important. If you're like John Steinbeck, you might talk about the land and the rivers. If you're talking about high schoolers and their social class, you might need to describe their clothing and style and accent and all the other things that matter for that interpersonal stuff. If you're doing a sci-fi world, you might need to describe what kind of spaceships they have. It really depends. There's also going to be dialogue. You want to throw in some dialogue. See where it goes with that. And then the third category is going to be very simple. It's going to have one criterion. It's going to say length. I'm going to have a minimum length because I don't want you to turn in one paragraph and say it's done. I'm going to say minimum length, 1,000 words. That's just a nice round number. And it's not as much as it seems. Most of you will do more than that, and that's fine. It's a minimum. There's no maximum. So you'll see me add in that with some rubric stuff for that first draft. And you'll see me look at all these outlines that have been turned in and send them back with comments. We'll take a few days. There's no rush, but it is important. The first draft's going to be your first assessment grade, by the way. And that's it. I'll end the video now. Give us all time to get on it.